My cellar is my baby. A sommelier job, first of all, we need to understand that all the sommeliers, they're having something in common: the passion and the love for the wines.
You guys got how many wines altogether?
At this particular time, we are near 500.
If someone watches, you're like, you know what, 500 wines, I'm never gonna have, my list, for 500 wines. If let's say I want to choose something at home, how do we come in their help?
White wine with white meat, red wine with red meat. Let's still keep black and white because always will be on fashion. However, we need to understand that we as a human being, we need to drink the wines and drink responsible. Not wines needs to drink us.
Alexandru Dan, head sommelier at Atlantic Hotel, and not just that, expert in wine, and both recognized in Romania and internationally, which is amazing, having experts on the podcast. I love that because I know we're gonna get like some amazing insights, and today we're talking about wine. A bit of the Romanian wine, a bit of the probably international wine, and just to get a good insight of what wine means, for both for the consumer and for the one that serves it. So tell us how you began, in this hospitality industry.
Wonderful. Good evening, Rado, and I would like to thank you for the fact that you invite me for your podcast. By the way, I saw a few podcasts, and congratulations to you and to your team behind the stage. Let's say like that. I'll be honest, I saw some few podcasts and I note some very good things, and I say hello to all the chefs and all other people that been part of this Hospitality in Jersey podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Welcome indeed. Moving forward, going back on how I started the hospitality, I could say like that. I've been privileged to do an economical high school that was based on front of house service, and after graduated that high school, I went for maître d'hôtel, like restaurant manager school and sommelier schools that I attended in 2005, 2006. And on the same time, I've been honored to be part of an amazing team in Bucharest, Romania, part of the Hilton international team, where they saw that I have some skills and abilities for wine, spirits, coffee, and guest satisfaction. And they invest more and more in my education abilities, because they send me to do F&B manager classes, courses, and I developed step by step like that. On the same time, I'm very, very happy, very excited to be part of a very educated generation of sommelier of Romania, to the generation of 2006, 2007, 2008, that we compete in a lot of competition, and we develop ourselves on different part of the coffee, of the spirits, of the wine.
It's a lot more than wine, right? Which is something that's very interesting.
Certainly. Working as a sommelier, it's covering a lot of things, but on the same time, more you learn, more you don't know. So you're covering the wines, you're covering one of the topics that we'll have it on the next questions, low alcohol or alcohol-free wine. You're covering the champagnes. Are you covering the spirits, highly on cognac, armagnacs, and all other digestives? Knowledge about cigars.
Wow.
So think about that. I've been privileged to do some classes of cigars in Dominican Republic that increased my knowledge from 1 to 10. Let's say I was 0.5 when I started to do those classes, and now my cigar knowledge developed a lot, and I still love that. Even if I don't smoke regular cigarettes, sometimes it's good to have a cigar with a black rum, or with a cognac, or with an armagnac.
But do you do it because you like the combinations? Are you into the pairing more than, just doing it because you like smoking?
I'll be very honest. I don't like to smoke, but I love the sensation. I love the moment. I love the experience to have a double Robusto cigar with an armagnac. it's a unique experience, and if you need to have a moment that you put all your things in top and a task, that could be a moment that you could put each and everything that you need to do properly. However, we need to understand that sometimes having those two, cigars and cognac, or even some nice glass of red wine, will offer to your mind, your body, your tonus perfectly relaxed time.
What does it mean, to go through this competition, to win these competitions, to meet people, that are at that level? How does it feel?
I'll be very honest. Usually when I go for a competition, in my mind is not exactly to win that competition, is to get experience that competition could offer me, to meet people and to learn more about service, about hospitality, about wine, and why not to develop myself from point A to point B.
Today's episode was brought to you with the support of our friends at Kyoto Restobar. From their izakaya dishes to the most delicious sushi in Jersey, Kyoto Restobar is the place you should have in mind for your next on-island Japanese experience. Whether you choose to dine in or order online, I promise that you won't be disappointed. And now, back to the episode.
I guess, because you spend quite a lot of your time in Romania, you must understand the Romanian wines better probably than anybody in Jersey, that's for sure. So, what are the Romanian regions, of the wine regions? And also probably let's go a bit outside of Romania before we actually go into Romania. Let's talk about the Balkans, and how this region, developed over the years. And probably from the time you kind of got into it, because it was almost like before communism and probably before 2000s, it was probably a different kind of era.
That's a very good question, and on the same time, you need to understand that regarding to my palate, I love all the wines. I'm a big fan of French wines. I love Italian wines. I love newer wines from Napa, from Mendoza, from La Salta, from Maipo Valley, Chile region. However, when I talk about Balkan wines, I go deeply intense to my heart, and I could tell you that in the last decade, 10 years, in all Balkan countries, wine industry, wine field is going up. Yeah, it's raising the quality, increasing the quality. The producer started to to understand exactly the market, and the people back at home, not only the people from industry, even the people that they're going to buy wine from a supermarket, for a wine shop, they love local indigenous grapes and local varieties. So if we are talking about Balkan wines, I will try to catch the main important countries, provider of very good quality wines, and I will start it with Serbian wines. They have some interesting grape varieties that develop in Serbia.
Are they better than Romania, like honest?
I could say that all Balkan countries are very good. I don't want to make difference between Balkan wines, or usually, I'll be very honest with you, I don't make difference between wines, because sometimes I could enjoy more a Burgundy wine today or tonight, or I could enjoy better wine from other region next day. You know what I mean?
It's like food, right? You are in the mood of eating that today. Tomorrow you probably feel like something else. So I get it. No, I do get it.
Yeah, excellent mention. In order to enjoy a wine, you need to enjoy the moment that you're having. You need to know for what type of event you're opening the wine, and on the same time with who you are sharing the wine, and for what are you sharing that wine? Just to have a lunch, just to have a dinner, or do you have a certain particular time of your life that you need to go up at?
Yeah, so we've got the Serbian wine. What else we've got in the region, that's known?
Talking about Serbian wines, I could talk about White Tamianica. I could talk about Prokupat. It's a very interesting red grape variety that developed well. Moving forward, we could have some interesting Macedonian wines. I tasted last year's.
I think I've seen some in Jersey as well. I don't know how good they are, but
it is indeed.
one or two.
It is indeed, and I just spoke with a very good wine supplier from Jersey that they will provide me the Macedonian wine very soon. Um, Talking about other countries with quality wines from Balkans, Bulgaria, they started to have interesting wines, and sometimes you could have some local indigenous grapes like Mavrug. It's a very interesting red grape. Top producers from Bulgaria that you're having at this particular moment. You're having, I tasted wines from Dragomir Valley, that is based on Thracian Valley. I taste wines from Enira that a very good friend of mine, and I will say hello to him, Mark Dorkin, is the head winemaker for them in Bulgaria for the Enira project and for the Alira project in Romania.
Oh, wow.
So you see how.
So that's why I get it now when you say, that you can't differentiate, because sometimes, they're so connected.
Totally agree with you. Going back to Romania, yes, we started to do very interesting wines, and we need to understand that first of all, Romania started to have international grape variety developed, but on the same time, very quality indigenous local grape varieties. So I could say that Feteasca Alba, it's a very interesting white grape from Romania, basically well grown in Dealu Mare, well grown in Banat area. We have Royal Feteasca, that is a little more aromatical grape variety and is developed very well. In the last 5-10 years, let's say like that, Crâmpoșie from Oltenia, Drăgășani area started to increase it, and I just tasted in October or November a very interesting Crâmpoșie from Oliver Bauer that I really enjoy it. Regarding other white grapes varieties that are developing interesting now, I could mention about Tămâioasă Românească and about Șarbă, and I found it very interesting, very aromatical, the Șarbă from Vrancea area, from Gârboiu producer, from the producer Gârboiu. Red grapes varieties, we could talk about Feteasca Neagră.
The one and only.
The one and only. Sometimes I'm speaking with some other very good people from wine field in UK or US, and probably if we'll do a national brand, Romanian brand, probably we need to develop around Feteasca Neagră, around Negru de Drăgășani, around Feteasca Albă, and probably those grapes we need to build
like the spear of the
because this is also my discussion with different wine producer from Balkans when they ask me from advices how they could get in US market or UK market. I give them my straightforward opinion, how is the market and what they should do in order to be on the top of that.
Mm-hmm. But what's stopping us? Because sometimes I keep wondering, okay, it's easy to say, and probably people will be like, well, you guys are biased, you're Romanians. Okay, but I still wouldn't drink a bad wine. I mean, whether it's Romanian or not. So I feel like, okay, we're probably not at the level that the French are. We're not at the level that the Italians or other countries, but I don't think we've got bad wine. So what stops us for getting into these markets like the UK, Jersey, or other places?
I really take it your mention very, very good and very positively, because first of all, each and every wine is good on his area. Some people said that a wine that is from France is better from wine from Italy, but sometimes the others say that Spanish are better, or American are the highest, or Chilean. Each and every wine is good. You have exceptional wines, you have very good wines, you have good wines, and you have, let's say like that, wine that are a little shiny in experimentation. Romanian wines, we have quality. Actually, in all Balkans, it is a very hard working behind, and the things that are moving forward now will start to be seen. the marketing that they need to do it needs to be a little more intensely to catch the market, and on the same time they need to start to have a external politic of growing together.
Not competition.
Not
like,
competition,
No, that
yeah.
no one is not needed. Right?
Yeah, I think that I do appreciate the wine of Portugal. I do appreciate wine of Austria because they're like a big association and they're all together. Wine of Argentina, when they start to come in UK now, 12, 15 years ago, and they done it very well. Their marketing and of course the quality helps them. I think those things needs to be follow up in a proper moment, and they need to be follow up accordingly. You know what I mean? All together, same units, same values, good quality. That's it.
How challenging is for you? Because I know you tried. Well, you already did. You're trying to at Atlantic. You're trying to bring some Romanian wines. You already did. But how challenging is to bring them here? Because you got the will. You've got the support, I guess, from the owner. How challenging is to get it here?
Thank you very much for your question. When I get over the wine list from the Atlantic, I saw that we are missing some part of the words. So I put my accent to bring more Uruguayan wines, to bring more Argentinian wines, develop some sub-region of Bordeaux like Pesaglonia, like Saint-Julien, Saint-Estèphe, and I put more accent in order to find the properly wines that could support the quality of our amazing chef working. Because I'm very privileged to work probably with one of the best UK chef team and to have the support of my entire management, to all my, sometimes let's say like that, crazy ideas of bringing biodynamical, dynamical sustainability, because I'm very happy, and on the same time I could say I'm lucky to have this privilege that they listen my ideas, and of course everything it's up to the culinary department that
But what's the process? Because now that you touch on this, what's the process? Because you guys got how many wines altogether?
at this particular time we are near 500.
Oh, crazy! Yeah.
However, probably end of 2024 will catch me. I plan to have 570.
Wow.
So I'm still in the process of tasting, and sometimes I do apologize to the suppliers that I don't taste their wines. Think about that. Before to leave holiday, I had like 12 or more than 12 bottles to taste it, but I don't have time to taste it, and I do promise that
You'll get to them eventually.
Yeah, I do promise that probably until March 1st. All the wines that I got that will be tasted, and of course we'll go together to develop the selection of wines on the Atlantic.
But how does it work? Do you do it based on food? Do you do it like, okay, you just see, because the way I see it is almost like, well, we see that some regions are missing. Let's get some of that wine tasted. Or is a combination of that with, whatever the menu says?
Basically, it's from my point of view, it's very important the communication that I'm having with the culinary team, with the chefs, and thank you very much, Will, for all your listenings that you support me, and always together we'll find a solution to match a dish in a proper way together. So basically, I'm discussing with the chefs regarding the food, and always I'm trying to give more and more options for the guest, because on the moment that you're creating a dish and you're trying to pair a wine, think about that. All of us, we are different as a palate, as a taste, as a flavors, and so on. So basically, me and my sommelier team, so we are going to sometimes even ask the guest, how is your palate? What do you prefer? Why? Because each and every dish in our minds, they're having 5, 7, 10 options that could be paired with that particular dish.
Well, this is what makes it crazy, because you go on in one of these places, you have like one page of white, the most you can go through probably is 1 page of white, 1 page of red, and maybe half page of rosé. And it's kind of easy to choose. But when you have 500, is it based on your recommendation?
Yes, it's based most of the time when a wine is selected is based of my or my colleagues' recommendation. That, to be honest, I am very happy to have an amazing young chap that started to increase day by day his wine knowledge, and on the same time during the summer when it's the season, all my colleagues support me, and this is my mention all the time when we have a briefing, a catch up. I mentioned to all of them guys all together. We do everything properly. Without, if he's missing one of us, it's not anymore the team. So I'm very happy to be part of an amazing team.
That's amazing if it's about the team, because you always, teamwork makes the dream work, how they say. But now that we touch on the food part, if someone watches, you're like, you know what, 500 wines, I'm never gonna have, my list, for 500 wines. If let's say I want to choose something at home, how do we come in their help? Some basics. When you choose wine, with food, for example, how do you, some very basics, let's talk about ingredients that everybody knows or dishes that everybody knows, whether we're talking, let's say, a Sunday roast or what can it be as another starter, or let's say a prawn cocktail or whatever. How do you combine these,
First of all, we need to understand what we will cook, which type of main protein we are using. If we talk about white fish, if we talk about now red tuna, like red fish, if we talk about duck, if you talk about lamb, if you talk about beef, and so on, the most important is what you're cooking. Very important in our days is which type of sauce are you using. Yeah,
that's something that's probably most of the times overlooked. And I'm not gonna lie, you mentioned about protein. I'm like, I got this, I understand that. As soon as you move to sauces,
right. I'll on the beginning of the food and wine pairing, I'll go back with what we study now 25 years ago when we done our hospitality college, white wine with white meat, red wine with red meat. This is, let's say like that, let's still keep black and white because always will be on fashion. However, we need to go deeply and to understand it's a mineral white, it's a very flavored white, it's having some citrusiness, what type of dish it is, for which type of meal I will pair it. It's a lunch, it's a dinner. What I will drink before the white wine. I will have a cocktail, I will have a champagne. What I'm planning to drink after that. So there are a lot of things that is making a food and wine pairing a moment that you need to be memorable for. This is for me an excellent food and wine pairing. Something that I will remember in 1 month, in 1 year, or in 10 years. So I will take it each and every group of drinks, let's say like that, part of the wine with champagne. Yeah.
anytime.
Yes, anytime. I'm totally agree with you with that one. Why? Champagne could be served on the beginning of the meal as a great appetizer, aperitif, yeah? Could be served with the fish, with the crustacea family, with seafood families. You could serve it even if it's, let's say like that, more rounded, more intensely. It's a vintage champagne. You could serve it even with the turkey, even with some creamy cheese. If it's a rosé champagne, why not? You could serve it even with some ducks or some beef, depending of the each and everybody taste. Because I'll be very honest with you, with the duck, for my personal taste, I'll go always with the Gewürztraminer Barton or with the Pinot Noir to be more on everybody understandment. However, I'll be very honest with you. I'll give you an example of a particular dish that is not by the book. So let's say like that. We are cooking on the kitchen. We'll have a sea bream. And think about that you are working during the summer with a chef that is using a sauce that is based of pomegranate or other berry fruits, so like strawberries, and is having also some sesame things there. Is having a garnish of, let's think about something more colored, beetroot puree. Yeah, beetroot puree. And think about that. Usually when you're discussing about fish, probably the main thing that you're thinking will be a Sauvignon Blanc, a Sancerre straightforward, or you think about an Albarino from Galicia, or if you will go straight for a Grunewaldiner from Dreisau. However, with a very tasty sauce that is based on fruits, probably if it's a summer, our main thing that we'll think about that food and wine pairing will be a rosé wine or a champagne. If we'll go in end of September, October, a Pinot Noir will be very suitable. So, intensity of the wine, what type of sauce are you using, which garnish are you using, what is the taste of the guest. You have some particular guests that could not, nowadays they started to have some intolerance to the sulfites from the wine. You have some guests that they have some intolerance to some particular things that they are using in the wine. And depending a lot about the conversation and the eye contact that you're having with your guest. Because end of the day, you need to understand that as a sommelier, is more about listening the guest, listen about his expectation for that particular meal, and on the same time trying to give options to the amazing food that you're having on the back.
And I guess you probably have situations where you see the dish coming out the kitchen, you go and you're like, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to recommend. This is the perfect thing for them. And you get into the conversation and you just feel like, you know what, this is probably not appropriate for them. It probably are situations like that, right?
To be honest, on the beginning of my career, those kind of things happens. And I learn from them. Because end of the day, working in hospitality, you never lose, you just learn. Yeah. So once again, for all the new guys that will start to do hospitality, in hospitality, you don't lose, you learn lessons. So that's why, more knowledgeable you started to be, you need to be more engaged with the guest to understand exactly how is their particular taste. I have some particular guests that they love more Chardonnay than Sauvignon Blanc, and always after their food, I'm trying to give them Chardonnay from different part of the world, just
to make it interesting from that point of view. No?
Yeah, just to keep them on the level that they will be happy. But on the same time, I mentioned to them why I choose that Burgundy Montagny, or why I choose the Saint Veran, or why I choose Chilean Gley Glacier, or why I choose a Chardonnay from Australia, or why I selected a very aromatical wine from Serbia or Romania.
What's the most expensive wine you ever sold or you ever presented to someone,
What should I say? I had the privilege to open some very interesting wines in my career, and hopefully I will have this opportunity this year and next year also. I'll be very honest. Screaming Eagle was a very interesting wine that I opened.
Where is this coming from?
From Napa Valley. I was working on the cruise lines, and I had this particular privilege to open the wine. I enjoyed the wine because the guest led me to taste it also. However, I'll be very honest with you. I consider it to be an amazing wine. However, for my palate, I tasted some wines on the same quality, but lower as a price. But it's just my particular taste.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think sometimes people, because it costs a lot, they associate that, that also tastes the best. I think, some people do, and I'm not saying just with wine, I'm talking in general, whether it's food, whether it's something else, I feel like people just, because it costs a lot, it means probably, it's the best. And probably it's not necessarily the case, right?
Let's say like that. When wine is having a higher price than others, think about that. The liquid the wine supposed to be very good to very good or exceptional, but on the same time, behind that winery, it is a history.
You pay for that.
It is a legacy. It is a very knowable winemaker. So
you pay for the story behind it as well, right? A lot of money, like anything else in life.
You pay for the liquid, you pay for the experience, you pay for the moment, you pay for the branding, but on the same time it is an enjoyable experience. However, I love to give to, when I'm talking with a customer, with a guest, I love to give him some good suggestions on different range of prices. Yeah, this is also a criteria that you need to be very focused when are you working on hospitality. I'm never try to push, I'm trying to understand the guest palatine taste, and on the same time up to the discussion with him to understand where he's going regarding the budget for that evening. It's very important. Don't jump. I don't,
because you make them feel uncomfortable. Probably.
I never want to feel that one of my guests is uncomfortable. I want to give them the experience to come back. So even if it's a memorable wine, I could tell them that particular vintage it's exceptional. And I always give them other two suggestions, because we in restaurants, industry, in field, as a sommelier, we give to the customers, to the guests, options to choose. We don't select that you need to have this or you need to have that. I'm avoiding to do that because I found that not appropriately, and on the same time, the guest empathy will be higher, and appreciation that you'll have it if you give them different type of wines will be mentioned.
And I think you probably feel better when you make the choice. At least you feel like you make the choice, right? Even if you have a selected, if it's like, if you have 10 here that you recommend, each one of them probably will work well. But just because you're like, I want number 9, boom, already feels better. I think, I think that's like that human behavior. You kind of feel better when you feel like you have the power almost, like you choosing.
Certainly, but on the same time, the communication is very, very important, because once you start to communicate with the guest, you'll understand each and every palate, potential budget, if it's a lunch or a dinner from, let's say, Monday to Thursday, or if it's a Christmas, or if it's a birthday or anniversary, you'll understand exactly where you need to go. But always give them options and communicate properly what you're having, what you're adding in the last 2 months, or which wine, which label got a very important award. And here it's a topic that I want to develop on this podcast with the wines that got awards from different magazines. What happens after the wine is getting awards?
Well, I guess the price goes up. No?
Could sometimes, yeah. Sometimes the price is going up. However, if your stock very well, your seller, you could be lucky. You could be very lucky, to get a wine. I will give you an example. I could mention some names. No,
absolutely. Yeah, sure you can.
I'll give you an example. I ordered from Italy a very interesting Amarone della Valpolicella from Boscaini, Masi Boscaini, 2013 as a vintage. I ordered that, was not in Jersey. And a very helpful supplier from Jersey, Randers and Dave. Hello, Dave. They told me that they could provide that for me. Just I need to wait a few weeks, And they brought the wine that is not very friendly as a price. They brought 12 bottles just for myself. And let's say we added on the wine on November, and the beginning of December, the wine took a very important award in New York.
Wow.
Yeah, and the price quite increased it on some of the suppliers, but I've been privileged and happy to have the same price that I got it before. So that's been a little investment on the seller, and you need to be very, very concerned when you're building a wine cellar to have a rotation, but on the same time you need to be very focused on what happened with some vintages from your cellars and which type of awards they could got it in time.
How do you keep up to date with like 500 wines? That's how you spend your days off, I guess.
First of all, what should I say? More you're trying to be on date with them, you have some other things to do it next day. Because some vintages are changing, some wines become awarded and they got a new prize and these kind of things. You need to be very concerned about your cellar, because my cellar is my baby.
No, I totally believe you. I mean, I see how passionate you are. So totally. But then, like things happen, let's say 10 wines get awarded, and obviously I'm not saying obviously, but probably not the case all the time. Prices go up, they become more famous. How is that influencing, the behind the scenes in your situations? Because surely the price should go up in the menu to a degree, I guess, because then when you want to order it again, you'll get it at a higher price. So how does it work? How do you keep the prices, the pricing situations?
First of all, working with so many wines, you need to have a straightforward policy regarding the prices and the GP's profits, gross profit. So you need to be very careful on those ones. You need to follow the mathematical plans. However, the communication that I'm getting with my supplier is main priority focus. I'm very focused on that those things, in case that one of the prices are changing or one of the suppliers are having a product that soon will be out of stock. They need to let me know, and I order, let's say, more than I order normally. I order a double order just to make sure that I have that vintage until end of the year and so on. So it was a challenging year, but with the support of Daniel's Love Wine, Randall's Liberation, I got it there. So thank you very much, all of you, for your kindly support that you offered in 2023. And we are waiting all of you to help us to reach 600 labels in 1 year. Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's gonna work. It's something that beneficial on both sides, I guess. Yeah, absolutely.
Correctly.
No, totally. But then for someone that wants to choose wines, if let's say I'm going now to Coop or whatever the shop, not something special, I'm talking about, specialized shops, with wines, because then probably it's slightly easier because you're going to get someone that can also guide you. Or just going to Coop, let's say, what are some red flags and what are some green flags? Because I'm not going to say, tell me specifically, how to choose, because as you mentioned, it's got to be an experience altogether. You might feel in the mood of choosing one wine or another, depending on the day. But I guess there will be some sort of like guidance in terms of like red flags. What should you not choose because of this, or what should you choose because of that?
Right. What will be the easiest way, from my point of view, when you go to select a wine, to buy a wine for, let's say like that, you're finishing 5 o'clock your office job.
That's the perfect example.
Already you're on your car, you open, you start to drive, and you think, okay, I stop on the first hypermarket or supermarket. I'm cooking at home this pasta or this charcuterie. What should I order? What should I buy? All right. First of all, you need to understand your own palate. What you prefer. If you prefer something very full body, as a Cabernet Sauvignon, as a Merlot base. You prefer something spicy, as Shiraz it is. if we are talking about Rhone Valley Shiraz, or if you are talking about Australian Shiraz from Barossa, we are looking for something very fruity, like Chilean wines or Argentinian wines are, or we are looking to have some intensely oaky vanilla that usually a Napa Cabernet Sauvignon is having. Or you want to have a Pinot Noir soft, and on the same time with your partner, you want to have something, 1 or 2 glasses to enjoy, but on the same time to not be very powerful. Choose a Pinot Noir, choose a Cabernet Franc, select a Carmenere, why not? If you want to have something very intensely, very full body, a Bordeaux olives will be an option. Piedmont, you could have a Barolo, you could have, why not, Brunello di Montalcino.
In terms of because the reason I'm asking, for me, I'm sure I have this wrong, but anyway, I'm gonna reveal, my knowledge about wine, which is very low. But so I'm a sucker when it comes to labels, so it's got to look somehow specific. In terms of whether with screw cap or with cork, exactly. I like cork, is a bit more romantic. Does it really matter? Probably not. So what, on the label, should it be some sort of information that's a green flag or a red flag? What do you think from that point of view?
That's a very good mention. Some of the people, they are thinking that screw cap wines, they're not amazing good, something like that. Trust me, from my point of view, and actually from most of the people point of view, having a screw cap is not something bad. Having a screw cap does mean that you'll have a wine that is not created to have a long age. It's a wine that has been created to be young, fresh, and enjoyable. Yeah. Usually when you're using the corks, the wine has been created to have a very long age. We need to understand that wine is not just the fermented drink base of grapes, but it's also a friend, a companion, somebody that having a glass of wine could support you in some very good decision, but on the same time, extremely important, highly important. We need to understand that we as a human being, we need to drink the wines and drink responsible.
True.
Not wines needs to drink us. So this is one of the topics that I put always extremely important, because working with beverage, you need to understand very well how is this operation, and you need to drink responsible, but on the same time understand each and every champagne, wine, how much you could drink it if you're at home, because wine, you need to keep it that kind of communication, drink it, enjoy it, and stop when it's necessary.
Can price be a red flag? I'm not saying, I'm talking about like some sort of range of prices, because we all know probably if you're going to get like a more expensive wine, more care will be put into that, I guess, at least you hope, when you buy it. But then can price be a variation, in terms of, let's say, because what I asked Flo from Randas last time, I'm like, can you find wine, that's okay with £5? I went like extremely low. So I'm not saying now with £5, but I'm saying, is that also a criteria? Should we aim for some sort of, is there a sweet spot?
Right. So how I'll go to discuss this subject that is quite sensible. To have a good wine from my particular point of view, you'll always find nice wine, price quality, from, let's say, from £9-10 from my point of view. You could get, if you go in the budget between 9 to 15, you could find good to very good wines. If you're going in a budget from 15 to 20, 22 pounds, you could have some interesting, memorable wines. And however the price is going upper and upper, you could have a higher experience, but on the same time you could drink also quality brand behind the winery.
I think, yeah, at some point, after a certain level, a price cap, you start paying a lot more for the story, not necessarily just for the liquid that's in the bottle, right?
It's not only about the story. Story is very important. However, we need to take in consideration that a wine that is aging in oak is having another cost.
True.
If you're taking your wood, your oak barrels from Allier Forest, I'll give you an example, you could have some huge cost behind it. If you're vinificated a special vintage of, I'll give you a very high example, Chateau Petrus or Skim Eagle or an Sassicaia or Nelaya, you could not vinificate that particular wine in each and every year. So usually those exceptional wines are vinificated in exceptional vintages by exceptional winemakers with some incredible tools, oaks, materials behind it. So it's a full working environment behind the level. And of course, the marketing also that is behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your opinion on the non-alcoholic wines? Because this seems to be a market that's growing. Like in the past years, I hear more and more about non-alcoholic wines. I'm sure you've got some sort of opinion on that.
Non-alcoholic wines, I could mention that started to increase as a selling, but on the same time, we need to understand that alcohol-free wines, they are amazing to be in a wine list. Yeah, they are great to be in a hypermarket. Why? Because you need to have all these options for the people that they are driving. Yeah, you need to have options for the people that, due to the medical situation, they could not drink alcohol and they want to have a glass of wine for a toast. You need to have options for those people that they are having some intolerance or allergies to some things that usually you find it in a wine. I'll give you examples from what I had it as sales in 2015, 2016. In my previous UK restaurant, let's say like that, I was selling 8, 9, maximum 10 bottles per month of alcohol-free wine. At this particular time, I'm running two white alcohol-free wines, a red alcohol-free wine, and a sparkling wine. I think that my sales are around 14 to 16 bottles monthly. So if you look on 2015 to 2023 as a balance, so if you look on 8 years journey, he's having a increasing in restaurants filled alcohol-free wine, and is something that we need to take in consideration because we need to drink responsible. We need to have options in case that we have allergies or intolerance. And of course, in case that somebody wants to have a juice, soft drinks, or a mocktail, you as a restaurant, you need to give, in order to be a very good restaurant, you need to have options also to give a glass of wine alcohol-free,
Well,
low in alcohol, let's say like that.
Yeah. I'm sure like options are not a problem at the Atlantic, especially with that big amount of bottles and growing. But you know what? One of the things I'm curious about your opinion on this, because one of the things that I kind of like, for my taste, I'm talking my taste, and I'm not specializing in anything. The white one seems to be okay-ish. The red wine, I don't know whether because it needs, red wine seems to be a bit more complex, at least to my knowledge. It's just not quite there yet, the non-alcoholic or the low alcohol or however we want to call it. What's your thing on that in terms of tastes?
Right. Now I'll give you one of my my tips how I selected my red wine that is alcohol free. I selected a Shiraz.
Okay, so what does it mean? You know?
And now probably you ask me why you choose a Shiraz to be your red options. Why? Because I found it more complexity, more spiciness in that particular wine that I found it in a low alcohol Pinot Noir or Cabernet Franc.
Okay.
So even when I'm selecting alcohol-free wines, I'm very concerned about the process behind it, about the flavors, about the complexity, and I started to know my gas palate, so I'm choosing up to those things.
So probably, you know, it could have been that because I only had one option. I remember like last year we done some wine tastings with one of the non-alcoholic providers, company that does that, you know, for like corporate events. So we had one option only, I think, if I remember. Or there were two? Probably there were two. But anyway, the white one fell a bit kind of okay, but the red, I'm like, this is kind of like way apart. But probably exactly as you mentioned, it was just not the right selection, or it wasn't the right thing.
It's let's say like that. It's a market that probably will settle very, very. At the moment, is on the beginning of sales revenue. However, we need to take in consideration that probably year after year we'll have some 5-10% ups in sales.
Interesting. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, especially from your perspective.
It is, and probably I'll try to look for rosé alcohol-free wine this season also to add it to my selection, just to be completed. You know, because I'm having whites, I'm having red, I'm having sparkling wine. I miss a rosé wine, so this is one of my things that I started to look over.
Wow, nice. Okay, good to know. Okay, everything you need now from this year you'll find at Atlantic. So it's good to know. Now, something that I don't really know about, and you know, it's from your world, obviously. How does it work? Because obviously, same as you've got chefs, you've got head chefs, you've got commis chefs, you've got sous chefs, you've got everything else. What's the structure, you know, in your world, you know? Because you are head sommelier. Who's below you? Who's right? Who's left? Who's around?
A sommelier job, first of all, we need to understand that all the sommeliers, they're having something in common: the passion and the love for the wines. However, each and every jobs is having parts of the pioneer, let's say like that, to use because let's use a French word, pioneer.
Or is almost like, is it like almost like apprentice, or people that want to learn?
Apprentice, well mentioned, apprentice or commis. So in a restaurant that is having more than 60 covers capacity, less to 100, 150 or even more, it's good to have a commis sommelier. That usually has a responsibility. He's first of all, he's part of the training that happens in the restaurant. Secondly, he's very involved on the preparation of the fridges, of the glasses, of the mise en place or setup, and on the same time will be open to listen and you know, to put in the value the service. We have the sommelier that is doing full restaurant service, and some good restaurants like we're having the head sommelier that is working together with the team, because end of the day
Here you are.
end of the day we are working all together. So that's why I love to say when we have the briefings and discussion, we are all together. We are one team, one dream. Each and every colleague is having different task as a job description. However, if somebody needs support, I'll be the first person that I'm supporting my colleagues if I have opportunity to do that.
So I guess your job is also as a mentor, right? It's kind of like making sure, you know, that team, you know, has the knowledge, has everything it needs, you know, to perform well. It's kind of like what the head chef does, you know, for the team, right? Motivating and everything else.
No, I told you, all the team, we're supposed to have the same passion, vision for the wines, work hard, But on the same time, I got as a responsibility the stock, the inventory, the orders, the discussion with the other head of restaurants
Paperworks and everything
department, orders, paperworks, trainings. Because I'm happy to work in a place that I could do 1 or 2 beverage training per month.
Wow.
That supports a lot the knowledge. So think about it for February, March, that we'll have months with new beginners in our F&B department. I already settled 3 of my beverage training for them, just to give them that particular welcome, and to make them more familiar with the products, because I remember on my beginnings, now 20 years ago, actually 22, and I know how difficult it is when you go to a very, very good restaurant and you have a lot of dishes, you have a lot of crockeries, a lot of glasses, a lot of wines, and you are a little
overwhelmed, probably.
unexpected. But on the same time, if you have the proper support, if you loved and you have the passion, things are coming.
Yeah.
So the main ingredients for the new people that joining hospitality, not only with us, with all the restaurants in UK and all other properties, is to have people that they want to learn, that they want to develop, and all other things that needs to be created for their pathway. We hope to do it properly, and we are doing properly.
Well, this is it. Yeah, I mean, you guys got like quite a few awards. The stakes are high. Yeah, there's no question about it. Yeah, so working both from food perspective, from accommodation, and from drinks. Everything has got to be at a high level. But what are the trends this year? Because like in every industry, it seems like whether this year or whether it's been continuing for the past years, how do you see the trends? In your world, what's kind of like interesting, how people see it?
This is a very interesting question, because from what I'm seeing day by day on social medias, and I speak with other very famous wine buyer, head sommelier over the UK. The trends apparently started to be very focused on sustainability wine list,
which is something you mentioned earlier, that you tried to expand on that.
Yes, I'll keep it internal. But yes, one of my plans for this year is to have a higher sustainability on my selection of wines. Secondly, some interesting wines from New World started to got interesting awards and scorings. So I'm a big fan of James Suckling. So this is my favorite wine reviewer at this particular time. And to be honest, most of the wines that he awarded with more than 95 points, I'm already there, and
that is great.
I'm already there, and I would like to thank you to Danners and Love Wine, because
to supporting your craziness.
Yeah, they are supporting. So Acacia, Paul, and Will, thank you very much for your supporting for those things. Even yesterday I messaged one of our suppliers, and I told him that a very important Margot wine house wine launched a new product as a second label, and I told him that I want that label, and he told me, Alex, I don't heard about that label, but let me see what I could do. So yeah, these kind of things happens.
Other things like like a few years back, I don't know how many, but a few years back, was Prosecco, like bam, Prosecco, everyone Prosecco. And then after that, at least to me, that's how it felt. And then it was Rosé. And it was like everybody was on Rosé, black, Rosé here, Rosé there. Is there such a thing now that's kind of coming apart from sustainability part?
I could say that trends last year and this year will be on Cremant, up to the sparkling wines. So Cremant, even if you're talking of Cremant de Burgundy, that is the sparkling wine from Burgundy. If we talk about Cremant d'Alsace, that by the way is one of my favorites as a price quality. So now I'm going back to your previous question. So if you go to do a normal shopping in a hypermarket and you'll find the Cremant, don't think that is lower than champagne. Think about that it's the same, most of the time, same vinification, but it's from a different part of France and is having
They can't name it champagne, right?
and is having almost the same quality or even higher.
Wow.
Yeah, and this mention, I'll keep it not only for Cremant, I'll keep it also for Franciacorta. Yeah.
Okay. Is that again a
Trend.
type?
It's
a trend, but it's also a type. I'm guessing it sounds Italian, right?
certo.
Okay, so is that again sparkling?
It is a sparkling. Okay. Franciacorta is probably one of the oldest sparkling wine in this world. It's vinificated by traditional method. So for the people that will stay down, will enjoy a glass of wine on family, and they want to know what is the traditional method. Traditional method means a second fermentation of the yeast that is located in the bottle. So let's say like that. The yeast from the top is going on the liquid, and
you turn it.
They turn it, and in French they call it remouage.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you turn in the morning the bottle or in the evening, some champagne houses they do it twice per day. The process is called remouage, having a sparkling wine that is not vinificated in champagne, you could not call it champagne. However, you could call the method of vinification that they call it champenoise. Even that you could not mention sometimes. But you could say traditional method, after traditional method vinificated. And on the same time, we need to take in consideration that the main grapes variety from famous champagnes are Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. In the last time has been an update of certain other grapes that will be part of the champagne. And some producers started to develop, but will be like a very small amount, 0.5, 1 to 5 maximum. Going back to the trends, Franciacorta was, it is, and will be always a trend regarding sparkling wines. Another trend that it is at this particular time in Europe, it's Gruner Veltliner.
Sounds German or Austrian?
Austrian. Gruner Veltliner. Yeah, it's a very interesting white grape from Austria, even if it's Wachau or even if it's Tricental. Sorry for my pronunciation.
No,
they are very interesting white mineral wines that you could have it. Another trend that we could talk about now, when we talk about white wine from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Probably most of us, we are thinking of Albarino that was and is still having a very interesting trend and turnover and appreciation. In the last 3-5 years, I could say that I started to be fan of Godello. Godello.
Okay. It sounds a bit Italian too.
It's a Spanish grape variety, but very aromatical and a very gourmet wine.
Okay. How do you find cava, by the way?
Cava, interesting. It's an interesting product. Cava.
Isn't cava like the competition of Prosecco or?
If you go straight forward, technically they are not in competition because cava most of the times is vinificated after traditional methods.
Okay, I don't know why I thought that it's the same.
However, Prosecco is vinificated by Charmat method. That again, I'll go back to the people that will listen to us. Charmat method or Prosecco method. It's that kind of vinification that you give to the sparkling wine with a second fermentation that is located in stainless steels.
And is it for less? Do you ferment it for less?
So-
You keep it in.
Keep it in stainless steel.
So in theory, it's fresher. I guess
it's fresher.
It's not probably the right word for it. I'm trying to find a very technical word, but it's not.
Young, fresh,
Yeah.
young and fresh, and
Wild.
let's say like that, fruity, wild, fresh, fruity.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you got it.
However, champagne or products that are vinificated after traditional method, you'll find that buttery, creamy, croissants, patisserie, those kind of flavors. You'll find it in a product that is vinificated after traditional method. Trends regarding red wines, red grapes varieties, Cabernet Franc.
Okay.
Yeah, Cabernet Franc, it is a trend. To be honest, when we talk about red grape variety, probably all of us, we heard about Merlot, about Pinot Noir, and about the Cabernet. That, by the way, is considered to be the king of the red grapes.
Okay.
So now I'm going back to the trend that is Cabernet Franc, and probably you're thinking that it's younger than Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest, like what to think, but yeah.
Yeah, so usually when you talk with somebody and you explain about King of the Whites Chardonnay, King of the Reds Cabernet Sauvignon, and after that you tell him about the trend that is Cabernet Franc, most of the people are thinking that Cabernet Franc is younger. However, in a DNA crossing, let's say like that, Cabernet Franc is the father of the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh, wow.
Back in a history.
For people that want to find more about you, because you post, you are active, people probably can even get the sense, of like how everything goes at Atlantic, in your life, because it's a lot of wine, and again, drink responsibly, all that story, but it's just this. You obviously experimenting because it's your job. Where can they find you? On social media.
On social media, they could find me, but however, it will be easier to find me to come to see me on the Atlantic and to discuss about our selection of wines and to discuss more about the culinary, about the experience, and to have the amazing view that they're having in Berlade.
No, absolutely. Alexandru, thank you so much. It was an absolutely pleasure, amazing conversation. We really enjoyed it. I mean, I learned so many things. I discovered wines that I never really knew existed. But it's always good having professionals on the podcast. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your invitation, and cheers to all the people that will be behind the TVs and the screen on social medias. And we raise a glass for all of you, even if you don't have it here, and drink responsible.
No, absolutely. Great advice. Thank you.